Hey guys, Ethan from TagMods here, and these are our Valorant builds powered by Intel. Our buddies over at Intel hit us up for a pair of builds on behalf of Riot Games. We held a series of votes to determine the most popular skin and the most popular agent that you guys wanted to see as a PC. The winner of the skin vote was Glitch Pop, and the winner of the agent vote was Omen. And with that, let's get into how I build them. Let's start with the hardware. Both PCs will be running the exact same specs, including the Aorus liquid cooler 240mm, the Z490 Pro AX motherboard, the Aorus RGB memory 16GB, the Gigabyte 512GB M.2 SSD, and the Gigabyte P850GM power supply. We've got the 3070 straight from Gigabyte, fresh off the press, and of course the builds will be powered by Intel's 10th gen, and both builds are running the i7-10700KF. The Omen build's built into the Cougar Blazer chassis, so I stripped that down so we can get rid of all those orange parts. Everything's given a quick sand so it's ready for paint. I grabbed the trusty angle grinder because we need to weather the front and top panels so they look more like Omen's robe. This is achieved with a 40 grit flat disc. You come in on like a 60-degree angle to keep the lines vertical and sharp. I constantly refer back to my reference image just to make sure I'm weathering it the right amount. Because we don't want any silver feature on the front panel, I come back in and redo the base layer in a flat black. It'll make sense as to why in just a little bit. Since I was ready in the spray booth, I hit all the other parts of the case that needed to be grey with their first couple of layers of paint. I smashed together a custom jig to both prop up and stabilise the front panel so that I could cut it on the CNC machine. The 3 lines you see being cut are Omen's face. The CNC machine makes pretty quick work of this alley, and the cut took about 20 minutes. I then come in with a acrylic cutter on a piece of 4.5mm acrylic to cut the inverse of his face. This piece will act as a diffuser within the front panel itself. I used toothpaste as a liquid mask for the front and top panel, so when the purple goes over the top, I can just wash off the toothpaste and it'll leave a nice weathered effect that kind of plays into the cartoony base aesthetic that we're going for to match Valorant. I give the acrylic insert that we CNC'd earlier a quick sand with 320 grit on both the front and the back just so it diffuses light. I start with a light purple base for the front and top panels before coming in with a much darker metallic purple. This is done while the base purple's still wet because it's just a mist coat of the darker colour. That produces a kind of cross-hatched fabric texture as well as giving us the mid-tone purple colour that we were after. Took advantage of the fact that I was already in my respirator and ready to paint the side panel for Glitch Pop. We start with the light blue on the top before masking that off and coming in with the light blue to magenta gradient with the dark blue and purple crossover line. We add those 2 colours just to help with the blend and make it more streamlined. The next day with everything dry, it was time to start putting Omen back together. The acrylic diffusion panel is glued in with 4 dots of CA glue and clamped down. I laminated the rear side panel for Omen in black vinyl so that it wasn't transparent, so that A, we could add more detailed graphics, and B, so the cables could be hidden. The Valorant logo was cut out of white vinyl and applied to the opposing window. I also added the Omen spray to the freshly laminated black panel. The rest of the decals used for the project needed to be in full colour, so we ran them through the HP latex printer before coming back to the cutter and cutting within our bleed lines so the vinyl could be weeded and applied. We start with all of Omen's ability icons, including his 2 basic abilities, his signature and his ultimate ability. With the addition of the Intel logo on the back panel, that makes Omen pretty much done, which means it's time to focus on Glitch Pop. This build's in the Inwin 309 chassis, so we're taking advantage of all the lights on the front panel by not really doing anything to the front panel, rather than overlaying some stickers. So we've got the little bunny from the Glitch Pop skin, the Valorant logo, and our Intel logo. On the top panel we introduce a bunch more of the Glitch Pop characters alongside with the glitch effect. We also apply the glitch effect to the front glass, just kind of tie everything together nice and neatly. The side panel dry, it's time to add the gold stickers to the hex panel, again referring to the design to make sure it all matches. The gold joining band that joins our light blue area to our gradient area nice and neatly. And then of course we need to add the big Unico sticker that features on most of the Glitch Pop guns, as well as a ribbon cable and a piece of acrylic that I've built up to look like a terminal piece. With With the modding more or less finished, it was time to prep all of the hardware for both systems so that we could build them. We start by prepping the motherboard, so installing our CPU, followed by the SSD and the RAM, as well as our base plate for the all-in-one cooler. It's all pretty stock standard stuff, so I'll just shut up for a minute. One board done, we just have to do it again. We're going to have to fit the GPUs into their vertical brackets before they can be mounted into the case. So we get the first one done and follow with the second. That's all the hardware raring to go, so it's time to get it in the cases. So I guess it's build montage time. So that about wraps up our Valorant PCs. I'm going to run all the fancy B-roll now, so I'm going to shut up and just let you guys enjoy. I'll see you in the next one.